Welcome to the REI Foundation Podcast, where we cover all the steps and strategies to make your real estate dreams a reality. Now your hosts, Jason and Peely.
Hi, everyone, and welcome again to the Real Estate Investing Foundation Podcast with Jason and Peely. Today, we welcome two powerhouse women to our podcast. I am so excited. Welcome, Liz Faircloth and Andresa Guidelli. Welcome.
Hey, guys. Hey, guys.
Hey. Thank you so much for coming on the show. How are you guys today?
We're great. We're so excited to be here.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for having us.
And a little bit more about our guests. Liz began her investing career along with her fiance with the purchase of a duplex with a $30,000 loan outside of Philadelphia. And after selling this duplex and moving to New Jersey, yes, New Jersey, she co-founded DeRosa Group in 2005 with her husband, Matt. And as chief advisor of the DeRosa Group, she helped build their portfolio to owning and managing apartment buildings, multifamily mixed-use buildings, and commercial buildings throughout the East Coast. And Andresa, she specializes in full gut renovation projects. We have the best of both worlds.
Nice.
And building new construction developments in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and runs the day-to-day operations of her own construction projects as well as other investors, creating systems to ensure scalability, efficiency, and quality, and also owns some small rental portfolio in Philadelphia and the co-founder of Monarch short-term rental. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. And I guess I would love to understand more about how the two of you have aligned over the future or the past, but tell us a little bit how each of you just jumped into real estate.
Want me to go first, Andresa?
Go ahead.
So my fiance at the time, Matt, and I don't want to go down a long story. So if I'm going long, just, cut me off here. But so we got together, we started dating, and one of the first things that we did actually was when we got together with my sister and my brother-in-law, we played Cash Flow by Robert, the Robert Kiyosaki game. And it was fascinating because I had never really, I was like, is it like Monopoly? But we got together and that was literally the first time my husband met my sister and brother-in-law. We played Cash Flow like over drinks, which is an interesting first meeting. But anyway, it was interesting and it got me like open to real estate and I was like, this is interesting. And then we both read Rich Dad Poor Dad, which I know a lot of people have, but it really gave us a whole new way of thinking about like passive income. And, my father's a teacher, special ed teacher of 45 years. My mom worked in insurance, both amazingly hardworking people, middle-class home, great family, but no one was an entrepreneur. No one invested in real estate really. My father ended up doing that a little bit, but at the time no one had. So we took education. We took a bunch of classes, DIG at the time, which I know is a great organization here in this area. He lived in Philadelphia. I lived in Jersey still. And decided to take the plunge. And we bought a duplex. That was our first purchase. And it was really scary. And we borrowed the money from my dad for the down payment. And we had to evict our first tenant like within the first week of owning the property. It was just like, it was actually a really good learning for us. And we just made a bunch of mistakes, but learned a lot. Ended up then doing a 1031 exchange because we moved to Jersey and then began our portfolio in the Jersey area. So
Fantastic. Andresa?
Yeah. So I was born and raised in Brazil. So I came to the U.S. in 2008 for my master's degree. And the plan was just to come here, get the knowledge, go back, find a great job, and,
And live life.
Secured, quote unquote, secure life. Well, that didn't happen. So I met my ex-husband on my last semester here, and then we decided that we were gonna, take things to the next level. And I was like, okay, so I'm gonna stay here. After I graduated, I decided to stay, and I got a job. One of the hardest things, but one of the best things that ever happened to me was this job. Was door to door, business to business for Verizon. And I learned a ton of systems, a lot of no's on my face. And one day I came to my manager and I said, hey, I want to read a book that tells me more about sales because I want to take my sales team to the next level. He's like, no. I was like, what do you mean no? If I make more money, you make more money. What's the point? He's like, Andresa, we have tons of meetings here. you're entrepreneur. You don't know that yet, but you are. So I'm gonna give you this book here called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And I was like, okay, what's that? It's like,
Nice.
you read it, and then next week we'll talk. And that really like rocked my world. Literally like opened my eyes to a completely new world that I didn't even know it existed. And then from there, we took a couple of courses with Kiyosaki's company, purchased our first property within 6 months, rehab it, living in it, pull a HELOC out, and start the reinvesting the entire funds. And that here I am.
Now, so both great points. And Liz, talking back to you, and you were talking how none of your family was entrepreneurs or had delved in that. When you had spoke to, I believe, your father about that loan, what was his response to something that was maybe a little bit outside of his comfort zone?
It's funny because I look back on that, and some, my father and even my mother-in-law were some of the first investors in our business. And, without them, we just wouldn't be where we are. I'm going to get choked up saying that, but, it's true. And, I think he trusted us, but I think about my own kids, and I'm like, if my kids came to me and asked me some of the things I asked my parents, I'm like, I don't know if I would have done the same thing, but maybe I would. I'm just looking at like a 4-year-old. I'm like, you don't even like tracing words right now, let alone investing in real estate. But yeah, I mean, I think he knew enough about the power of real estate. He didn't have his own business, but he actually at that point was actually under contract for a rental of his own. And then he had bought a couple different properties over the years. So he was very open to real estate. He's a conservative person, but he's very good with finances, and he trusts me completely, and I never took that for granted. So, I mean, we've paid him back that loan and gave him his interest and all that good stuff. And we've done other loans with my parents and as well as my mother-in-law. We treat their money like gold.
That's amazing. And Andresa, similar format, but people find all kinds of excuses of why they can't get started. And here you are, from Brazil, you're in America, you're doing a sales job, and now you find Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and you buy a property in 6 months. How were you able to make that mental transition from just finding a property and just that hurdle, getting over that first hurdle of buying your first property?
Sure. One thing that I always had was a student mentality. I've always wanted to keep growing as I go. So when I found real estate, I really wanted to understand how things work. So I really dig into it. Let me understand. I don't even know what I don't know, but let me get into this world and get educated. I'd rather pay for my education than for my mistakes. That's my personal choice. That doesn't mean that I did not make any mistake, but I did. But I think that at the beginning, the most important thing that I did was to surround myself with people with the same mindset. Because then if I brought this idea about rehabbing a house to my friends that had a 9-to-5 job, the response will be like, what are you talking about? This is so risky. But then if I brought to the group of people that were already doing, their question was like, what's the purchase? Where's the location? What is the average days on market? How much is construction? How many bids did you get? All of those were more rational questions. And that helped me to put the emotion aside and say, okay, how can I make a rational decision here? How can I take one step further? I might not understand the whole path, but let me take one step further this month. Let me meet a lender. Let me understand what are the terms that he's talking about. How would that look like if I bought this house here? Can you just break it down for me? So it's literally a step by step. Sometimes it's baby steps, but moving forward. That's how little by little acquire one property, 2 properties, 3, 5, and then you just scale. But separating the emotion was a big thing for me. The mentality was extremely important.
Yeah, the mindset. So tell us a little bit about where your business is right now.
Okay. So my business kind of like revolved for the last couple of months. I still do new construction properties and rehabs. And I have a system in place here in Philadelphia that I thought, why not expand to New Jersey and Delaware, since there are two markets, completely different, but markets that I can totally analyze and understand. So that's where I am right now. Liz and I have met. I need to tell Matt. Not going to throw Matt under the bus. Matt is also involved. But we have projects in Trenton, New Jersey that they are doing turnkey. Those are multifamilies, and I manage those as well. And we have a couple of small developments that we're analyzing to see if that's something that we're going to take over. I also, another part of my business is short-term rentals. I help investors to convert their long-term rental into short-term. So there's a process. Sometimes people say every single property qualifies. The answer, no. Not every single property qualifies for that. Not even the investor qualifies, because I want to deal with people with same values that I have, high integrity. That's very important to me. So everybody that I surround myself with, it's not that I have higher standards, but I kind of do. So I wanna surround myself with people that are playing a big game, but also making a difference in the world. So that's very important to me, more than how much he or she has on her bank account.
So it sounds like your business is explosive. You're surrounding yourself with amazing people. Liz, how about you? Where's your business look? What does your business look like right now?
Yeah, excuse me, we dabbled in a lot of different things when we started, we started in 2004. So we've been in this for a long time. And then you start to learn, okay, what's working, what's not, what do we need to do more of, what do we need to do less of? And then for many years, I actually stepped out of the business and worked full time as a consultant. And then when I had my son, when we had our son, about 4 years ago, I was traveling, I was doing consulting, and it was just a lot. So I decided to kind of, retire from that per se and kind of jump back into the business. So I've been in our business on different levels at different times. But right now, I'm really helping. So we're focused on acquiring long-term holds, more apartment building, buildings and things of that sort. Not so much, depending on where it is, but Northeast is getting expensive, so we're looking elsewhere. I know we've had those chats too. That's one side of it. The other side of it is really trying to scale some of the pieces of the business that we have done, but haven't done it on a larger scale. So we do flip properties. We've sold, we renovate and sell turnkeys. It's just not this like huge business per se for us. And it's worked, but I'm really trying to help. And that's where Andresa comes in, is trying to really create a more of like that process and that structure, make it really sound, and then look to do more than, a few at a time, right? To really scale it. So that's where my focus is really, helping our processes and our systems of our company. We managed everything up until a few months ago. So all the doors that we had in the Trenton, New Jersey, Pennsylvania area, we managed. We had a team that managed. And then we just transitioned to a third-party manager. And so a lot of our employees and our team kind of went with them. So now it's kind of like back to just the core, and we kind of reduced to really refocus. So that's where we're at right now. We're reading a bunch of books and putting a bunch of like processes in place. It's going a little slower than I'd like it to, because you're in the business and you're working on it, and just trying to manage all that. But regardless, I'm really trying to help my husband do what he's great at. When we partner with Andresa, let her do what she's great at, and then let me do what I'm great at. And it's figuring that out. It's not necessarily the easiest thing, but it's something that I know will be rewarding. So I love helping people. I love teaching people. I'd like to get to doing more of that, right? So processes and systems isn't necessarily my, as they say, their jam. People say jam. I don't know if that really works for me, but I'll just say it because someone had just said it yesterday in the interview. So yeah, that's where we are in our business, is really coming back in to regroup and then to be able to go out and make it happen, where Matt focuses more on the apartment building syndication side.
Wow, there's so many different directions we can go here. And so we'll talk about this. You guys have an awesome podcast, the Invest Her Show, which the podcast to empower women to live a financially free and balanced life. And Peely was on it recently, which is awesome. I loved it.
Honor of being on your podcast.
So, we took lots of notes.
Now, did the podcast partnership become before the real estate partnership? And I guess my through line with this question is partnerships are such a balance, right? And people have so many partnerships that just don't work out because they haven't maybe vetted the partnership right, or they haven't really figured out what they want. How was it that you two aligned? What kind of project was it? And what between Matt and the two of you, what was really the balance that struck to make this a successful partnership?
Sure. Liz and I, when we met a couple of years ago, we started doing deals after 2 years. So we built a very strong relationship first, personal first. We knew what each other was doing and everything else, but that was a big foundation for us. And then we started doing the rehabs, the small developments in Philadelphia, and the construction management in Trenton. And then we got to the point where Liz and I had a mastermind group of 6 people that we've been running for the past 3 years. And we were like, I think that there's no space for women to really feel secure to raise their hand and ask the question they might have. And we really want to create this community with the intention to just shine a light to those women. We have no intention to diminish the importance of men in the business. Majority of our partners are men. I adore them. It's not about that. But Liz and I had this vision of a place where women could go and really offer support and feel supported. We were looking for it and we couldn't find it. So we found one. And the podcast came, let's interview badass women that are really like rock and rolling out there, right? Breastfeeding in half an hour and just telling the construction guys, hey, did you guys already pour the foundation or no? What's going on there? So those are the type of women that wear so many hats and, still make things happen, have no excuses to just move forward, but it's still, struggling with trying to balance, quote unquote, balance that life. So that was our intention. Did I miss anything, Liz?
No, I was just going to say from a partnership perspective, in a lot of ways, Andresa and I, early on, let me take a step back. I had worked with an assessment tool, a personality assessment tool that Andresa took. So when we were talking and I met with her and her husband, I was like, here's your personality. So early on when we worked together and we were friends, I knew her style. I kind of knew her strengths. And I know myself. Well, some days I don't, but most days I do. And so when we started talking about doing more together, I had a role, but I have different roles, right? So sometimes I'm more active here in our business and less active there. But as we got to talking more, I realized how complementary we were. And I'm sure you did too, Andresa. So in a lot of ways, there are things that we're similar on, like our work ethic. We both value, similar things, but we're different in a lot of ways, and so I think that's the mix. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm an expert in partnerships, but we have literally had partnerships fail miserably, and we've had amazing partnerships, like literally on the two spectrums, like where, legal things have been involved on one side, and you've done great and been really happy with everywhere in between. So I've really analyzed it, actually. I stepped back and I'm like, what works, what doesn't? And it really comes down to similarities where it needs to have in terms of values, ethics. Those shouldn't be different. Those should be literally the same exact things. You should have the same values, meaning, are you looking to get paid today? Are you looking to get paid tomorrow? And if you don't have that value, that might not work for a partnership. Work ethic and entrepreneurial spirit, all those sort of things. Who's got an employee mentality? Who doesn't? I mean, that's different. That's not going to work. If someone wants to be treated as an employee, but yet wants to be a business owner as well. But the values, on the different side, or diversity side, we really complemented each other. I mean, Andresa is more forthright. She's more direct. She's more detail oriented. I don't know what I do well most of the days, but she always says, you could talk to that person. You're relationship oriented.
Yes.
So and I think in a lot of ways, as we work more together, we're exploring that. We know there's value in our styles. And I think we've hit the surface, especially as we've developed some new ideas on our podcast and creating communities and workshops and all the ideas we have on that side of our business. We're exploring that. And we're just like, okay, where can we both go and divide and conquer? But we're really open to it, and we're both open to self-growth. I think that's critical as a partnership, marriage, business, whatever. But if you have somebody who wants to grow and another person who wants to blame, not going to work.
Exactly. So I
can go on and on. Sorry.
No. Let's actually expand on that. Let's talk about growth. Let's talk about how you and Andresa want to grow together and create this business that's very centered around bringing the women in this industry to the forefront. So how are you growing? What does your business look like, 1, 3, 5 years from now?
Sure. I will share a couple of ideas that we have at the moment, and we revolve because we are surrounded by so many great women. So every time that we interview somebody or we express what we are looking for, new ideas come, and we're like, wow, we should definitely explore that. So in a couple of years, here's how more or less this will look like. Right now we have a meetup in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. So we are looking to connect with other ladies in other states that will carry that system there as well, carry the values, carry what we're looking to do and how we're looking to do. The podcast will continue interviewing the ladies, but we are doing what we call mini-sode, where it's a 10-minute episode for the ladies that are just like in the car, dropping off the kids or running job sites, whatever that might be, where Liz and I will talk about a story that happened to us and 3 major lessons that we learned from it. So we can focus on the lessons, not on what really happened. And we're putting together workshops where one lady or a couple will come to us in one weekend and really dive into a specific subject. We are really highlighting and putting on the stage those ladies that sometimes are under the radar. We're just not used to see them on stage, and they have so much value, and we want to bring that up. And then our ultimate goal next year, fall, more or less, we're looking to have our conference where a bunch of rock stars will be on stage, and we're looking for a place where we can also relax. So we might have some adult beverage involved and some like relaxing time. We deserve that.
I'll be there. I'll be there with the tequila.
Yeah.
You're right.
I love it.
I think the ultimate vision, though, too, just to jump in, is like there's so much to give. Like everyone needs something, and everyone can give something, and all of us, right? So anywhere you are in your business, whether you've not done a deal or you're growing your business, it really doesn't matter. You have something to give. But there's areas that I need help with. Same with Andresa, I'm sure. Same with both of you. So what we want to do, our vision is to really create a community of women who can be that for each other. Yeah. So you're a mentor to someone, and you're a mentee to someone else. So that's our ultimate goal, is to have this like really neat online community where people are just sharing and helping each other, and there's a safe place to do it.
I love the value.
And I'm laughing with 4 kids, or 3 kids, not 4, 3 kids, 4 and under, and 2 bulldogs. We need all that.
You get it. Yeah, right.
So, well, with that said, having so many awesome women on the podcast, what's a through line or a common topic that comes up frequently that you can just pinpoint that's really allowing these women just take that next level and take that next step to really just transforming their business or having an awesome real estate career?
We probably have different answers for this. I would say the women that we've interviewed have been they've persevered through so many different things. So perseverance has got to be a quality that's just run through everyone. Some of the ladies that, everyone always thinks, oh, you're an entrepreneur, you own property or this or that. You just were handed to it, you're left millions and, you're good. I mean, we didn't start with anything, we started with a loan from my father. Like, both of us had middle-class families. I'm just got her neat story, and I'm sure you both too. So in a lot of ways, the women that we've interviewed have been so humbling in their stories, but they persevered through just the stuff they've had to persevere. And I just think that's probably one of the quality I've been most impressed by. And this sense of positivity, like no one we've interviewed is like, well, this sucks and this is this. And it's like no one, like they just are so positive. Like even if they're not positive all the time, which no one can be positive all the time. I'm not positive all the time, believe me. But you know what? I go back to that. Even when I just like to, whine and I'm like, all right, I'm done whining. Now I got to get on the shtick and figure this out. That's got to be a quality that everyone we've interviewed has. They're persevering, positive women.
And that's a great reason to have a partnership, right? Because if I'm having one of those days, Pillie's like,
right.
Come on, that's enough. You've had your 5 minutes to cry. Get out of the corner and let's get back on.
Yeah,
right?
He does the same thing for me.
Yeah. Exactly.
I'll be in bed. I don't want to get out. And he's just like, okay, here's all the kids. I'm going to dump them on the bed.
Gotta get up.
Put a smile on my face.
Exactly.
Another thing that I would say, it's also overcoming the fear. Because sometimes we think that there's fear only involved when we're starting. Of course there is, but there's fear when you are also taking your business to a next level, right? When you are doing, oh my gosh, now I'm doing 2 properties at the same time. Oh my gosh, now I'm doing 15. Oh no. Oh, and now so those are all like quote unquote good problems to have, right? And I think that the fear, it's there in different stages. The difference is, despite the fear, a lot of the ladies, or all of them, otherwise they wouldn't be where they are right now, had to make that decision about, okay, would I stay in this cloud of fear, or would I make a decision, believe on what I am about to do, and just jump, take the leap, and build the plane as you go down. And a lot of them did not have the entire plan structured and all of that, but they had support systems around them, or they created. If they didn't have it, they created. They were open to share, to admit their mistakes and really learn from it. Because sometimes we think, oh, I don't want to make mistakes. Forget about it. The mistakes will give you the experience needed. So you want to make them. You want to just go forward. Go forward. Learn from it. As you guys saying, quit the whining. I whine sometimes. Like, okay, I'm done whining now. Let's just go to work. Yeah. You have the right to cry, to whine, to be pissed off. Yeah. But for 5 minutes, not for an entire day. Come on.
No, it's a good thing. Give yourself the time to whine. Give yourself the 5 minutes to be like, and then get over it.
Yeah.
Move on.
Let's transition into a little bit more about investments. Liz, you had touched a bit about buying multifamily, and now you're not targeting on the Northeast. Talk to us about what you're searching for today and what kind of opportunities you're looking for, and what is an attractive buy for you right now in your business model.
Sure. So when we started, we bought some single family homes where we actually try to flip property in Trenton, New Jersey, which for anyone that's local, not something you do, but you start out, you don't know what you're doing. So those are still rentals, which actually in the process of, knock on wood, we'll be selling them hopefully this year. So although they're they've just been around a long time, but yeah, so when we bought single family homes, we bought a commercial building, and then we started to buy small multis and fix them up and either mostly hold them. And that was like, okay, this is working. Small multis work. We like the idea of having multiple tenants in a building, duplexes, fourplexes, small, that range. And then we grew to, okay, let's stop doing commercial because that wasn't, something we want to do more of. And single family homes, don't want to do too much more of that. We then said, okay, let's see if we can get to a 10 unit or an 18 unit. So we grew our portfolio. We've been doing this a long time. We grew very, very steadily, very kind of like, most of these podcasts are like, let me get to, 100 million in assets. Like that was not our path. We took it very slowly. So we literally went from like a 4 unit to an 8 unit to a 10 unit to an 18 unit, 18 to then 49. And then the 49 was like to a 200. But it was, that to us wasn't like this huge it wasn't a different class, a different asset class. So we just grew in the asset class that, especially more my husband's specialty, knew what he was doing. So what we're focused on now is that we are looking for, the 100+ unit, buildings, but not in this particular area. We did a lot of our buying here, but it's just really expensive. Jersey's expensive. The taxes are expensive. Everything's kind of, it's just starting to get priced out, especially in Philadelphia. We had an apartment building there, but it just made sense to sell it. So the Southeast, those areas just seem to be more, you can get the return back for your investors. We don't go in with our own money. When we do, we're with a stake of it. It's not the whole thing. So we're just like both of you, we raise funds to then, have a stake in the building, a general partnership in the building, and then we get limited partners in with us. So that's our focus is large multi in those other parts of the country that make sense from a value add perspective. And then you can make it better and, make it nicer, make it, get the right management team in, turn it around and get your investors' money back and everything.
That's
Fantastic.
Have a good return.
Andresa, where you're at with your business, it sounds like you're managing your own construction projects, and you also own a small rental portfolio, and you co-founded Monarch. It's a short-term rental. You want to speak a little bit about that?
Touch on that because I guess 2 points on that, right? Is first, we do short-term rentals. What makes a good market and what makes a good property?
That is a great question. I think that when I look at a property that is going to be short-term rental, I analyze it the same way I would analyze a property that I would rehab, but in a different sense. So I look at comps. Okay, what's going on in the area? What are the attractions in the area? How far I am from transportation? What is the location, the most things that attract people to this location, how it is inside. Does it need, renovations, or it's good to go? Airbnb, it's really a hospitality business. So you want to make sure that you're not just renting. You can't treat Airbnb guest as a long-term guest. The Airbnb guest, or I'm just using Airbnb as a term, but there are tons of other short-term portals for short-term rentals, but I just use Airbnb as a general name. So the guest really wants excellence in, what the property has to offer, the quality of the furniture that the person is in. So when I am looking at a property, I look at how much quote unquote construction or what needs to be done in order to bring that property to short-term rental level of quality. And not all the properties do qualify for short-term, in my opinion. My niche is really people that are coming to Philadelphia to either go to the museums, families that want to be together, or business people that really come here to conferences and things like that. So they want high quality, great location, great amenities. That is exactly what they want, and be very easygoing. So we offer guides. We are very clear on how we communicate with them. It's very personal. So they feel that they have a support. They are not just going to a city that doesn't have it. So it's a different, I'll say a different market. There are people that are doing in neighborhoods that are a little bit further, or, they have a different niche. But in my case, the location will be essential.
Awesome. Did you have a ninja trick for how to make your property stand out best against others that are maybe doing short-term rentals as well?
Sorry. Yes, I think that I take very pride of the decoration and the amenities that we offer. I'm so sorry. My dog keeps...
Okay.
No worries. Sorry, I'm sure one of our children is running around rampant outside, so we're good.
Yeah, our 2-month-old is in the background with our aunt.
Yeah, with our aunt.
So we can hear.
Sorry about that. So the quality of the products that you offer, we're talking about great leaning, like the the mattress, the towels, those are things that they it really matters to them. They don't really care about the kitchen. They want to come here and go to the restaurants and things like that. But those details that they see, I put flowers, or I bring them the day that they come in, we have like fresh pastries for them because they might be coming from some other location and really want something to eat. So those details, and really checking on them. Is there anything that you guys need that might facilitate? Some families, they come with babies and they say, I would be, it would be great if we had a high chair. Okay, let me make this happen for you. So it's just that very personal touch and being available for them. And another side, on the back side of the business, I had to create systems where I have standard answers so other people can answer on my behalf if needed, and standard procedures, standard short-term agreement that I made to really protect my properties and my investors' properties. So besides the agreement that the portal requests, I request an extra contract to be signed electronically. So it's very easy. It's nothing complicated, but it's just to cover everybody's assets, let's say.
That's awesome.
That's fantastic. It takes short-term rentals to a whole new level. You're actually treating them like they're coming to a hotel. You're giving them, 5-star service, good towels, pastries on the bed.
Yeah. We have a lot of work
I'd
to do.
stay there.
Yep.
Do you want to start managing our short-term rentals?
I'll love that. Yours is at the beach, so I'll love that. I'll say, hey, I have a business trip to go. I have to go there.
Exactly.
They're a ton of fun. You're right. And of course you can make a ton more in basically revenue a month, but it is a business. So you have to put it together. All your time is going to be spent on the property, or, the additional 7 to 10 to 15 times you're going to clean the property a month.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
Great points. And
Absolutely. Yeah. The systems in place and the team, it's essential. The cleaning lady, she knows that it is just not cleaning. She needs to make sure that everything is put back and they have the supplies, the coffee, the tea, and everything is really in place, ready to go. Because you never know when your next booking will be. So once the guest is out, we turn that property in about 2 to 3 hours. So it's ready to go.
That's awesome.
Fantastic.
That's great. Now we're going to transition just to our last few questions. Thank you so much for your time today. And for each of you, it will be different, but what is your big why for doing all this?
Yeah. I mean, my big why is leaving a legacy to my kids that they can be proud of. And also living a life that, is setting an example for them. Whatever that is, and being a good human being and being kind and, being able to give back and all those sort of things. So, but my big why of, why real estate and why, our own business and is just the life where we want to go and what we're living now, and just having that flexibility and that financial kind of freedom and independence to do what you need to do when you want to do it. And to then leave that to my kids to, protect and what have you.
Andresa?
Yeah. Mine is very similar. The legacy is extremely important to me. So I'm looking ahead and seeing, my grandchildren being able to listen to all these interviews and really know, oh my gosh, my grandma, look at her podcast. They thought that was cool at that time. Something like that, and also being the freedom that real estate provides about living the life that I want to be on my terms, being where I want to be, with whom I want to be, how long I want to be. That is the why for me.
Fantastic. So do you each have words you live by? Like a quote? Liz?
Yeah, I mean, we're actually in the process of selling our primary residence and potentially moving and not, getting a new property under contract. So I've really been feeling a little extra overwhelmed these days. So what I'm living to, because I'm like, I've heard once that you need to have a context for a situation. So if you're in a transition, you're dealing with something, whatever it is, you got to have like a bumper sticker to focus on, because if not, you're going to get sucked in potentially to whatever is happening, right? So for me, the last few days, I'm like, I got to get a context here because I'm spitting in my head a little bit. So for me, what I've been holding is like, do what's in front of me to do. So if that means clean my closets so our house is ready to show, then that's what's in front of me to do. Because my mind will go to the end, and that's not going to work right now. I mean, I just want to go there, but it's just not. And then my mind goes about, well, what if we sell, there's all the questions you have, especially when it's your personal homes. So anyway, do what's in front of me to do. And so have a context, whatever you're going through, have a bumper sticker of something positive that could pull you out of your own stuff, which I need to be pulled out of like all the time.
I am taking that bumper sticker and sticking it on my car.
Please take it. Do what's in front of you to do.
I'm the same way. I'm like, I'll think about the thing that's in front of me, and then I'll think about like the 10 other things that I have to do. And I'll be like, oh, but those things too. Andresa, your words to live by.
Wow. I keep thinking here, and I have so many quotes in my head that I cannot even remember or pick one at this moment, but there's one that keep coming in my head right now, so it might be this one. It shall pass. Whatever that situation might be, it shall pass. Period. Good or bad, complicated or not, it shall pass.
I keep thinking that's Gandalf from Lord of the Rings, but that shall not pass. That's completely different context, but that's all that came to me there. So I was going to roll.
Got it.
But that's why I'm on the sideline. This is a woman-dominated podcast right here. So that's all I have. So.
No, that's a great words to live by right now. It shall pass. Think like it's like living in the moment. Whether if your moment's with a Gandalf.
That's right. That's right. Well, the two of you, thank you so much. This has been just awesome. I've truly enjoyed this. I'm sure Pili has truly enjoyed this. If there's a way that others can connect with you, what would be the best way to find each of you?
Sure. So our website for our podcast and the Invest Her community that we're growing and connecting with is therealestateinvesther.com. And then you can learn more about what we're up to there, especially with all the, community work we're doing. And then personally as well, the DeRosaGroup.com is my husband and I's business.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
Do you have a separate website as well?
Yeah, it can be the realestateinvestor.com. And you guys have any questions, my direct email is andresa@therealestateinvestor.com. And we'll be more than happy to answer any of your questions.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Thank you both so much for being on the podcast. This is so much fun.
Yes, thank you for having us. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
So this is the Real Estate Investing Foundation podcast with Jason and Pili. Thank you again to Andresa and Liz. It's been amazing. And thank you to all of you out there for listening. We are so grateful. Have a good day.
Thanks for tuning into the REI Foundation podcast. Check back next time for more awesome tips and strategies to launch your new you in real estate.